University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee student Ahmed Ewis needs to shave. He also needs to practice what he preaches if he works with Students for Justice in Palestine and believes justice means I would have killed all the Jews in the world, but I kept some to show the world why I killed them. A quote he attributes to Hitler. Take a look. Wisconsin-Milwaukee student Ewis is affiliated with American Muslims for Palestine, a group whose former members donated $12.4 million to Hamas, according to information released during a 2016 congressional testimony. He doesn't seem to be the most tolerant bloke either. Watchdog group Canary Mission discovered him tweeting, "If my son is gay, I'm personally gonna go to Palestine, weld me a sword, come back and chop his head off." What a civilized, perfectly assimilated young man. Oh, and in case those tweets didn't convince you that Students for Justice in Palestine activists have bastardized the concept of justice and hate Jews, let Ewis clarify by answering the question, what is one thing you wish you can have, with justice for Palestine or kill all Zionists, and responding to someone asking him who are your enemies with Jews. Okay, but surely this hatred doesn't translate to support for actual terrorists, right? Well, Ewis loves blowing smoke, but he's totally serious when it comes to his twisted political views. Here's the kid's response to the Israel Defense Forces tweeting that, so far today, more than 100 rockets fired from Gaza have hit Israel. While the student graced his Twitter profile with that quote attributed to Hitler I showed at the beginning, he's apparently an even bigger fan of Hamas. During the 2014 Israel-Gaza conflict, which Hamas started by kidnapping and murdering a few Israeli teenagers, Ewis tweeted, "All the brainwashed people just blame it on Hamas." I think George Orwell would diagnose this fellow with stage 4 doublethink. Now, I'm not saying this University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee student is all bad news. He shared this hilarious video in which students are graded according to their privilege, and seems to have a healthy aversion to feminists. But I guess we see the left's oppression Olympics in action if an anti-feminist, anti-gay guy can be accepted as long as he's pro-Palestine and pro-Hamas. However, disliking an ideology is one thing. Inciting violence against an entire religion or sexuality and defending terrorism, well, that's something else. For Campus Unmasked, I'm Rob Shimshock. If you like this video and support our mission, please make sure to comment and subscribe. If something happens on your campus and you'd like us to investigate, send us details using the form on campusunmasked.com.
G55, next number, G57.
This is Tuesday night for John Calvin. His favorite gay bar, his favorite people. Bingo and dancing in his current hometown in Edmonton, Canada. But for Calvin, it's bittersweet because it might not last. He's fighting to keep from being sent from Canada to the West Bank. He says it's also a fight to stay alive. If you are sent back, what will happen to you?
It's a certain death. That's undisputable fact. Literally as if my life is hanging by a thread.
Calvin is a Christian convert. He's also gay. And where he comes from, he says it's a deadly combination. Calvin is the grandson of the co-founder of Hamas. He has 5 uncles, all in and out of prison for committing acts of terror.
My family was very, very extremist. Islam, Hamas were the two things that my family revolved around. Since I was 3 years old, I was being taught Quran and historical stories about the Jews, how they planned to kill Muhammad.
Calvin says at 14, he ran away from home to get away from his family, illegally crossing the border to Israel. He was arrested and sent to an Israeli prison where he had an experience that changed his life.
I was sexually assaulted by another Palestinian fellow. Sorry.
It was his treatment after the attack that he says turned his core beliefs upside down. He says Israeli prison guards showed him compassion.
that was the breaking moment for me. That was the moment when I started breaking off from my beliefs.
When he came back home, he says he started looking for meaning outside of Hamas and found it in an unlikely place given his background, Christianity. Calvin says when his father found out, he tried to organize an honor killing.
My father have actually planned it, so I was to be put to death.
Calvin fled to Canada in 2010, where he applied for refugee protection. But that application was denied earlier this year. The reason? The very reason he says he left, Hamas.
At the end of the day, if they determine that he is a member of a terrorist organization, then he simply can't claim any sort of refugee status.
The Canadian government cited his admission that he'd been a member, along with many in his family. He was ordered deported.
The evidence consisted of him essentially carrying some messages that he hadn't read from one of his uncles to another one of his uncles. There was evidence that someone had given him a handgun, but he certainly wasn't involved in any actual acts of terror.
We called Calvin's father. He denied being a member of Hamas and says he never tried to kill his son. But then he made a damning reference to Saddam Hussein's son-in-law, who was killed after he defected.
Well, our family's no less dignified than Saddam Hussein's family. His fate may not be different than that traitor general Hassan Kamal, who was the son-in-law of Saddam Hussein's.
The implication? He could be killed by the community. Facing deportation, Calvin received another blow. His mother disowned him. She did it by text.
Don't call me again. I don't think I could lose anything more than that.
Then your mom?
No, No, I don't think so.
The Canadian government would not comment specifically on John Calvin's case, but says a risk assessment is one of the safeguards to ensure people in need of protection are not removed. For Calvin's friends, it's unthinkable.
This is what we want to see people do. We want to see people who have a family history with Hamas and other organizations escape that and find safe places like what we have here. This is where he belongs.
Just weeks ago, he learned the date he'd have to leave, November 4th.
Not knowing if you're going to live or die on November 4th. The anticipation that you're gonna die on November 4th.
So this admitted member of a Hamas family who is now openly gay and a practicing Christian likely will be deported unless Canada or another Western country believes him when he says he left Hamas behind when he left the West Bank. Lori Siegel, CNN Money, Edmonton, Canada.
شوف كيف هذا ماشي والله العظيم بطل في إسلام بالبلد.
ترى أنا لما أشوف شلة شباب من الجامعة هيك بقطع الشارع.
والله أنت كمان؟
من وأنا صغير ولا مرة قدرت أتمسح وأتعود على تسميع الحكي والتمسخر اللي بسمعه كل ما أمرق، هي غير الضرب مرات.
أنا بتذكر من أيامات المدرسة، بحس حالي لازم أكون شبح، بروح وبرجع بدون ما حدا يشوفني.
هي أيام المدرسة الله لا يعيدها، تحكي لها بصفك السر، تاني يوم كل المدرسة بتعرف.
لا تصفك، بسرعة بتفهم إنه مش بصفك، ولا الأستاذ بصفك، ولا المستشارة بصفك، ولا أهلك اللي هن أهلك متأكدين هن بصف مين.
4 سنين قضيت فرص الساعة 10 وأنا مش مسترجي أطلع على الساحة.
أريح لك، المدرسة غابة لأي حدا شوي مختلف، تلحقش ضرب ومسخرة وتحرش.
أكتر أستاذ كنت أحبه قرفني وهو يحكي لي شد حنكك ولا وين أنت بدك تصير زلمة؟ لأنه بالآخر قلت له بركي أنت بتعرف وين تبي منك الأستاذ.
هاي الملاحظات البايخة بتسمعها وين ما تروح، حتى بالبيت.
أصعب إشي بالبيت، عشان هدول المفروض أهلك اللي بحبوك اللي بتثق فيهن، يعني المفروض أكتر ناس يوقفوا معك.
أنا هديك المرة كنا قاعدين عم ناكل وأبصر مين جاب السيرة، ولا أمي بتقول هدول مرضى لازم ننحرق. أنا بلعت ريقي وتخيلت أمي لحقتني بجرن بنزين.
أنا أهلي بيعرفوا مثلا، بس كان عندهم حالة إنكار بالنسبة لي، صعب عليهم يصدقوا. يعني مستحيل اقدر احكي معن على مشاكل العاطفيه مثلا عشان مش رح ياخذوها بجديه الا اذا مع بنت، زي كانوا بعدنا متاملين تجاه البنت اللي تسحرني وغير رايي واتجوز.
لا امي من ناحيتها اذا بديش اتجوز بلاش، بس لازم اصير بروفيسوره وعلى السريع، بتعرف عشان الناس.
اهم شيء الناس.
ما هذا تعويض حبيب قلبي، احنا لازم نكون احسن من الكل عشان نكفر عن الجريمه انه خلقنا.
بس لو انت الوضع بده يضل هيك يعني، حتى هسه عم نشوف اكثر عائلات اللي عم تتعامل مع الموضوع باكثر وعي وتقبل.
يا اخي حلنا من التقبل، مثليين ومتحولين فيه بكل محل، بدك ولا بدكاش، مش طالبه منك تحبني او تتقبلني، اما انك تتعامل معي بعنف عشان شكلي او ميولي، شو بحب وشو بحبش مش مقبول.
هاي ما اختلفناش
نحو مجتمع يرفض العنف ويحترم الاختلاف.